Hey folks, James Abrinio coming to you from Abrinio Law. And in this video, let's talk about when we think that you need to hire a Virginia car accident attorney. And inherent in this title of this video, and if you're watching this, we are assuming a couple things. Number one, that you were actually involved in a car accident and you were injured and you have a personal injury claim. Uh, Also inherent in the title is that there are instances where we don't necessarily think you need an attorney, and it may be in your best interest to try to resolve the case yourself. And we'll talk about this more at the end, but just at the top of it, oftentimes in my experience and our experience, we found that for people that have suffered minor accidents, soft tissue injury, that are able and um, willing to pursue their own claim, oftentimes it may make sense for you to settle your own case or try to resolve your own case, because we find in more straightforward claims, insurance companies are a bit fairer, and when you factor in hiring an attorney and paying attorney's fees, it may be better off. But ultimately, this is our view, and these are things that we think about in whether or not you need to hire an attorney. So feel free to get other opinions and things like that. But here's what we think. So we think, number one, you need to hire an attorney if you've been in an accident and you suffer complex injuries. What I mean by that is broken bones, torn tendons, burst discs, brain injuries, things where you need surgery or extensive treatment, where it's a really bad injury. And the reason we think that you need to hire an attorney in complex injury cases is assuming there's enough auto insurance. We find that auto insurance companies are going to play games in these situations. They're going to lowball you. They're going to try to take advantage of you if you're representing yourself. They're going to try to undervalue the claim. And we feel that, at least in my experience, the offers, at least I've seen, going to individual consumers representing themselves versus what we're able to get justifies our attorney's fees. And what I mean by that is most personal injury attorneys here in Virginia get paid on a contingency fee. That means we take a percent of what you get. So at the end of the day, you get a settlement check. We take a percentage of that. You don't pay us up front. So our fee ranges from 25% to 33%. Sometimes you can go higher depending on an appeal, but either way, it's a lot of money. And what I'm saying is, in my experience, I found that if you've been severely injured, when we're involved, we've been able to increase the settlement value, or at trial, the value of the case, more than just getting us paid. And so, for instance, if a case is worth $100,000, we think, and we're able to get that to you, but they offer you 15 grand, it's obviously the numbers make sense to hire an attorney because you make money there. I will tell you, there are instances where I've had individuals where they will come to me having suffered complex injury cases, and they've essentially tried to resolve it themselves. And sometimes, they're getting $15,000 for a case that most of the times they're getting $15,000 offers for a case I think it's worth $100,000. And then we step in and we're able to increase that. Once in a while, we'll have a case where, the case is worth $50,000 and they get offered 35. And when you do the math, many times I'll say, look, I don't know that it makes sense to hire me because it looks like you're getting a relatively fair enough offer to call it a day. And so the numbers will matter there. But I can just tell you, in my experience, if it were me, if you suffered a serious injury, hire an attorney right away, because I think it'll save you time, effort, stress, and all that. And again, this is assuming there's enough auto insurance coverage. If you've suffered a case injury worth $100,000 and they've only got $25,000 in coverage, unless you want to try to pursue them individually, which in my experience doesn't go well, they'll probably offer you that limited coverage. But again, if you've suffered complex injuries, at least call an attorney. Most will speak to you for free. So get that education. Now, the second scenario is you just don't want to deal with an insurance company. I have many individuals that will call me. They're CEOs, or they're tech people, or they're lawyers or physicians, or they're blue collar workers and just have a lot of work to do and have a lot of things to deal with. And the last thing they want to do is try to negotiate a case with an insurance company. Let's say your case is worth $5,000 and You may end up more pocket. It may end up more in your pocket than if your attorney gets you six and you have to pay the attorney. But you may say, look, I'd rather just pay the attorney because I don't want to deal with this. That's fair. I do. If you've made that financial market choice, that is absolutely your best decision to make. I will tell you, in at least at my firm, I typically don't deal with. We don't typically handle cases where it's cases like this where you're just choosing to hire an attorney, even though the attorney is probably not going to be able to add money in your pocket. And the reason being is we specialize in complex injury cases. I focus on cases where I can truly add, or at least have confidence that I can add significant money into the client's pocket. And obviously, and honestly, we don't really have the infrastructure. I think for firms that are taking cases on, the soft tissue injury cases, you've got to have a volume practice or at least a system set up. And we just don't have that. And it's not, again, it's just not I opened my own firm because I want to do interesting cases that I can add value. It's just not something we handle. But that being said, if you call us and you have a case like this, I have referral friends that do these kinds of cases, and they have the firm set up to handle that kind of volume. So again, if you just want an attorney, even if it doesn't necessarily make you more money, that's another reason you may want to hire a personal injury attorney. Another reason, there's a potential issue with liability. And what I mean by that, in Virginia is one of like 3 states in the country that apply something called contributory negligence. And contributory negligence means that if the defendant, the person that caused the accident, is 99% at fault, but a judge or a jury finds you're just 1% at fault, you're barred from recovery. So if there is a claim that you may have contributed to the accident, to the extent you can get an attorney involved, you want one because you don't want to risk some issue with liability. If people call me with the issue with potential liability, I will make an objective view on it. Okay, I think you're going to lose based upon contributory negligence, so it's not a case that we can take on. Or I think you're right, but I think there's absolutely a risk here. You need to hire us, and we'll help litigate it and do the best we can to preserve liability. Because keep in mind, if you lose on the liability issue, if a judge finds you or a jury finds you contributory negligent, you don't get any money no matter how badly you're injured. You could have lost a leg. You could have a family member could have died. But if a jury or judge finds that the plaintiff contributed to the accident at all, they lose. So these are very sensitive cases. And again, if you call us, I will make an objective view, and I'll tell you, look, I think you're going to lose. Or I'll say, I think we've got a strong case here, but you do need to hire us because we don't want you to lose on the liability claim because you're learning on your own case essentially. Now, another reason that you may need to hire an attorney is you simply can't get a fair offer from an insurance company. And after looking at the numbers, you've decided to litigate the case, meaning you have to file a lawsuit. So this can happen in a couple scenarios. Number one, scenarios where you're literally just not getting a response from the insurance company and your statute of limitations is running. So in Virginia, there's typically a 2-year statute of limitations to file a lawsuit. There can be other shorter dates, but this is just generally speaking. And just because you've notified an insurance company that you have an insurance claim, that doesn't mean that your statute is tolled or postponed or frozen. You have to properly file a lawsuit in court. I've seen too many cases where the insurance companies just try to run out the clock. And by the time the potential injured party reaches out to an attorney, it's just too late and an attorney can't accept it. And now the claim is waived, or they've assumed that the 2-year statute of limitation is preserved if they've notified the insurance company. So I usually require 6 months on a statute of limitations to file a lawsuit. Sometimes I'll get closer to that. But the reason being is I want enough time that if there's issues, I can go out and fix it. So if we're not sure who the defendant is, or we've named the defendant wrong, or if there's another defendant, we need to have time to be able to fix that if we filed it. Because if you've filed suit, the statute runs, and you haven't sued the right person or you haven't made the right claim, you're done. So waiting the last minute's not good. Another scenario is kind of one I alluded to earlier. I have scenarios where people try to work out their own complex injury cases, and the insurance company is just not making a fair offer. And the only way you can get that fair offer is litigate it. And I tell everybody, if you're going to walk into court for a car accident case, for a personal injury case, get an attorney, because you don't want to learn on your own case. I'm not saying that we're brilliant and we're rocket science here. It's just we do this for a living, and we've been through the pitfalls, made the mistakes. You don't want to be the one doing your own case and learning on it, because if things don't go well, you suffer the consequences of that. Now, as I said at the top of this, obviously this means that we don't think you always need an attorney. And again, soft tissue injury cases, you may very well not need an attorney. Cases where you didn't seek medical treatment, you may not need an attorney. But ultimately, again, it's your decision. And part of this video is kind of our view on how we handle cases and types of cases that we accept. So again, we focus on complex injury cases, cases where we think we can add true value to the claim. So look, I hope this information was useful to you. Other attorneys may see it differently, so feel free to get different opinions. Again, this is an informational video. Here's our information: website, phone number, email address. Here's our social media accounts. We're posting on those regularly. If you got questions or comments, comment below on this video. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to grow our reach. So hopefully we can help as many people as possible with useful information. Even if they don't end up hiring us, even if you don't end up hiring us, hopefully this video provides useful information. So look, I wish you guys the best. Any other questions, reach out. Until next time, be safe.